All right, let's talk about mastering what is honestly one of the most powerful free AI tools ever created, NotebookLM. If you're a creator, a student, a professional, anyone who's tired of juggling dozens of tabs and just wrestling with information overload, this is for you. We're going to show you how to turn all that chaos into a real strategic advantage.
So at first glance, NotebookLM might look like just another chatbot, but it's not. It's fundamentally different. You see, a generic AI pulls from the entire, vast, unvetted internet, and that can lead to mistakes, or what we call hallucinations. NotebookLM, on the other hand, is grounded only in the trusted sources that you provide. This drastically, and I mean drastically, reduces those errors and makes every answer verifiable.
So, you get what it is, but how do you actually master it? Well, the key isn't just knowing about the tool. The difference between getting kind of meh results and absolutely incredible results, well, it all comes down to your approach. That's why we're going to break down a powerful framework to really unlock its full potential.
We're going to use a really simple three-step system that will completely change how you learn and work with information. Seriously, it'll transform you from just a passive consumer of content into an active creator.
Okay, so here's the framework. It's built on 3 core actions, nice and simple. First, you curate a trusted knowledge base. Then, you learn from it with your own personalized AI genius. And finally, the most important part, you act on that knowledge to create something brand new.
Let's kick things off with the first and, frankly, the most critical step: curate. This is all about building a high-quality foundation for your AI to work with.
The goal here is really simple. You want to build a knowledge base only from sources you've personally vetted and already trust. You have to be super particular about what you let into your notebook because, and this is the key, the quality of your output depends entirely on the quality of your input. Garbage in, garbage out.
And this right here, this is the #1 mistake people make. They treat NotebookLM like a search engine. But if you're just picking random links and dumping them in, you're totally missing the point. You lose the core benefit of having a grounded, trusted AI in the first place.
And the beauty of this is that your trusted library can come from just about anywhere. We're talking research papers as PDFs, articles from websites you follow, transcripts from YouTube videos you respect, your own files from Google Drive. You can even use your own thoughts captured as voice memos. It's so flexible.
Okay, so you've built your curated foundation. Now, this is where the real magic starts to happen. Let's move on to step 2. Learn. This is where you start to interact with your knowledge base in a really targeted way.
This is the power of a grounded AI. You're not just chatting with some generic model that's read the whole internet. No, you're having a focused conversation with your own personal, curated library of knowledge. It's like having a genius assistant who has only read the exact books you told them to read. Nothing else.
So you can ask these incredibly specific questions, right? Like putting together a marathon plan. But imagine for a second, you've uploaded PDFs from the world's top running coaches and sports scientists. Instead of some generic answer from a web search, you get a synthesized 12-week plan built exclusively from that elite expertise. That's a game changer.
Now, this is maybe my favorite part. See that little number there? That's a citation. Every single claim that NotebookLM makes is linked directly back to the exact passage in your original source. This means you can instantly verify everything. No more wondering, where did the AI get that from? But look, knowledge is completely wasted unless you actually use it, right? And that brings us to the third and honestly the most overlooked and powerful step in this whole framework: act.
This is where NotebookLM just leaves other tools in the dust. It has this incredible studio feature that lets you instantly repurpose your entire knowledge base into all these powerful professional formats. You're not just learning anymore, you're creating. And just look at the potential here. With a few clicks, you can generate entire multimedia projects all grounded in your research. I'm talking everything from a study guide to an explainer video, all built from your trusted sources.
Think about this for a second. Let's say you uploaded the writings of 2 competing historical figures, say Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. You could have NotebookLM script and actually voice an entire podcast debate between them on government, based strictly on their own writings. You can literally listen to your sources argue their points. How cool is that?
Or how about this? You need to present your findings for work. You just prompt the AI, create a 10-slide presentation summarizing my sources on quantum computing, and boom, It extracts the key arguments, synthesizes the main takeaways, and builds out a full deck complete with suggested visuals. This isn't just a time saver, it's a complete workflow revolution.
So when you follow this curate, learn, and act framework, something fundamental really shifts. You stop being just a passive consumer of endless information, and you become an active architect of your own knowledge.
So what's the bottom line? This method can help you accelerate your learning and content creation speed by up to 10 times. I'm not kidding. It is a system for turning information overload into your own strategic advantage.
Because you see, you're no longer just using a generic AI. You are building and directing your own. You're creating custom little AI models trained on your curated expertise, which lets you generate unique value that really no one else can replicate.
In today's world, information is absolutely everywhere. It's abundant. The real challenge isn't finding it, it's building with it. This framework gives you the tools to become an architect of knowledge. So, the only question left is, what are you going to build?
All right, today we're diving into what I think might be one of the most powerful and free AI tools ever created, NotebookLM. But here's the thing. Getting those mind-blowing results isn't about just using it. It's about knowing how to use it correctly. And that is exactly what we are going to break down today.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what it means to have your own personal AI analyst. Then we'll walk through the 3 simple steps. Curate your sources, chat with and transform that data, and finally, turn all that knowledge into real-world action. Let's jump in.
So what do we even mean by a personal AI analyst? Look, I know it might look like just another chatbot, but I promise you it's not. NotebookLM works on a totally different principle, and once you get this one key difference, everything else just clicks into place.
And this right here is the most important thing to understand. A general AI, pulls its answers from the entire massive internet. The AI is the one picking the sources. But with NotebookLM, it's grounded only in the documents you give it. Think of it like you're building a private walled garden of information you trust. This means it's way less likely to just make stuff up or hallucinate.
The other huge advantage is its raw power. NotebookLM has what's called a massive context window, which, is just a fancy way of saying you can give it a ton of information to work with all at once. We're talking entire books, stacks of research papers, long interview transcripts. It's built for those really deep, complex projects. So that brings us to our very first step, and honestly, the most important one, curating your sources. This is where most people trip up, but getting this right is the absolute secret to getting those amazing results.
And getting your stuff in there is super easy. You can build your knowledge base from pretty much anything. You can upload PDFs, images, even those little voice memos you record on your phone. You can drop in links to websites or YouTube videos, pull things right from your Google Drive, or, just paste in some text you copied.
Okay, so this is huge. Please, whatever you do, do not just dump a random folder of files or a long list of links you haven't even read into your notebook. The whole point of this first step, curate, is being selective. Garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it random stuff, you're just going to get random results. Only add sources you've already checked out and actually trust.
Okay, so once you've built your trusted library of sources, you're ready for step 2, chatting with your data. This is where you literally get to have a conversation with your documents. You're asking questions directly to your own personal knowledge base.
And the layout is super clean, really easy to get. Over on the left, that's where all your sources live. The big panel in the middle, that's your chat window. And on the right, you've got your notepad and the very powerful studio, which we are definitely getting to in a sec.
But wait, before you type your first question, here's a pro tip. That's a total game changer. Configure your notebook first. You can actually give the AI a custom role. So instead of just a generic assistant, you can tell it you are an elite marathon coach, or you are a skeptical financial analyst. This totally changes its personality and makes its answers so much more tailored to what you need.
And this is why you can actually trust the answers you get. Every single answer it gives you comes with these little numbers, citations. They link directly back to the exact spot in your original documents. You can just hover your mouse over a citation and see the exact quote it pulled. It lets you instantly verify everything. No more guessing. Okay, now we get to the really cool part. Once you've asked your questions and gathered some insights, the next step is to transform that knowledge. This is where we go way beyond a simple Q&A and start using the studio to turn all that raw information into actual finished products. So the first amazing feature in the studio is the audio overview.
Get this. With just one click, NotebookLM will scan all of your sources and generate an entire AI-powered podcast episode all about your topic. It's an incredible way to review information when you're on a walk or driving. But again, don't just hit the big button. There's a little pencil icon next to it, and that's where the magic is. You can customize the format. You can ask for a deep dive, or my personal favorite, a debate, where it actually takes conflicting ideas from your sources and has the AI hosts argue them. You can even tell them exactly what question you want them to focus on.
And hey, if you're more of a visual person, the studio's got you covered. It can also instantly whip up two other super useful things: infographics and full-on slide decks. It's perfect for turning dense text into something you can see and understand at a glance.
And just like the audio, you've got options. You can create an infographic to get that high-level visual map of all the concepts. And when making a slide deck, you can choose. Do you want a really detailed one that's packed with information, perfect for studying? Or do you want a clean, minimalist presenter deck for when you have to give a talk?
So, we've curated our sources, we've learned from them, we've transformed them. That brings us to the final, and I'd argue most overlooked step: acting on that knowledge. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of all this information if you don't actually use it?
So how does NotebookLM help you act? Well, think about it. You can use the chat to help you outline a video script or draft an article, pulling direct quotes as you go. You can take that slide deck it made and use it as the foundation for a business plan or a presentation for your team. The goal here isn't just to learn stuff. It's to use this focused, high-quality knowledge to go create something completely new.
See, when you follow this framework, curate, learn, and then act, you stop just asking random questions and you start building this focused engine for generating real insight. The true power here is that you can turn any pile of information into a launch pad for creation. So, the only question left really is, what are you going to create first?
Let's be real. We're all drowning in information, right? Articles, videos, research papers, it's a lot. And AI was supposed to be our lifeguard, but a lot of the time it just feels totally disconnected from the stuff we actually need. Well, today we're diving into a tool that promises to change all of that: NotebookLM. You know that feeling, right? You ask an AI chatbot a simple question and it confidently gives you an answer that's completely made up. They call it an AI hallucination, and it's a huge problem. With no way to check where it got its information, how can you possibly trust it for anything important? And this right here is the fundamental difference. A generic AI is pulling from the entire chaotic, messy internet. But NotebookLM, it's a closed system. It is grounded only in the documents, the sources that you provide. You build the library, so you control the truth. So here's our game plan for breaking down this really powerful tool. We're going to start by building our own personal knowledge base. Then we'll learn how to talk to it, how to transform that info into cool new formats, and finally, how to put all that knowledge into action. Okay, everything, and I mean everything, starts with this first and most critical step: curation. This is where you feed your personal AI. And it's not about just dumping in a bunch of random files. It's about being intentional, about building a focused, trusted knowledge base for your project. And you can throw almost anything into this knowledge base. Seriously, we're talking research PDFs, your own Google Docs, links to websites, even YouTube videos, and your own recorded voice memos. The sheer versatility here is a huge game changer. This quote pretty much nails the biggest mistake new users make. The whole magic of NotebookLM is its focus. If you just dump in a ton of random articles, you kind of lose that advantage. The key really is to be selective. Pick the sources you trust, the ones that are actually relevant to what you're trying to do. Okay, so you've carefully curated your sources, they're all loaded up. Now it's time for step 2, the conversation. This is where you stop just, passively reading your documents and you start actually talking to them. So let's imagine you uploaded a bunch of articles, some PDFs, and a few videos all about marathon training. Instead of having to reread everything, you can just ask a direct question. You're not just searching for keywords, you're asking the AI to synthesize all of that knowledge you gave it. And this is where you build trust. Every single answer comes with these little numbered citations. You click one, and bam, it takes you to the exact quote in the original document it came from. No more guessing, no more hallucinations, you know exactly where the information is from. But what if you need to drill down even deeper? Okay, here's a pro tip for you. You can use the little checkboxes next to each source to focus the AI's attention. Want to ask a question based on just one PDF and 2 videos? Just select those and you'll get hyper-specific answers from that exact set of documents. This creates a really powerful feedback loop. Let's say you get a brilliant summary or a perfect outline from the AI. You can save it as a note. Then, and this is the really cool part, you can turn that note into a new source, which means you're effectively teaching your AI with its own best insights for your next round of questions. So, you've curated your sources, you've had a conversation with them, now for the real magic. Step 3 is about transformation, turning all that raw knowledge into polished, usable stuff with a feature they call Studio. And just look at this list. We're not just talking about simple summaries. You can turn your notes into an actual podcast, an explainer video, a mind map to see all the connections, study guides with flashcards, and even infographics or full slide decks. It's wild. I mean, take the audio overview, for example. You can tell it to create a debate between 2 different viewpoints that it found in your sources. It will literally generate a podcast with 2 AI hosts arguing the points from the documents you uploaded. You could listen to your research on your commute. Or how about this? It can take all the unstructured text from your marathon articles and generate a perfectly organized training plan inside a data table. This is all about turning paragraphs of text into actionable, structured information that you can actually use. Need to create a presentation? No problem. You can tell it what you need. A really detailed deck for studying, with all the key facts right there on the slides? Done. Or maybe a sleek presenter deck, with minimal text, designed for you to be the star of the show. Yep, it can do that too. So we've curated, we've questioned, and we've transformed our information. But that brings us to the most important step of all, taking action. Because, let's face it, insight without action is, well, it's just trivia. And this is exactly how people are putting it to work in the real world. They're scripting videos, outlining business plans, absolutely acing their exams with personalized study guides, and creating incredible resources to share with their teams. The tool is the engine, but you are absolutely the driver. So in the end, NotebookLM isn't just another tool. It's honestly like a superpower. It's the ability to have a deep, interactive conversation with your own private library of knowledge and then transform that knowledge on command. So the only question left is, what will you create with it?
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a tool that could seriously solve one of the biggest headaches for any creator or professional. You know the one. How do you get from a mountain of research to an actual finished project? Well, let's talk about Google's NotebookLM.
Oh man, we have all been here, right? You've got like a dozen tabs open, notes scattered all over the place, just this huge pile of information, but no clear path to actually finishing that script or that course or that article. It's a classic bottleneck, and it is super frustrating. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. Most AI tools you've used, like ChatGPT or Gemini, they're trained on the entire wild, messy internet. NotebookLM, it works on a totally different principle. It is grounded exclusively in the sources that you give it. What does that mean? It means it's not going to just make stuff up. It's not going to give you some generic, bland answer. It is going to become an expert, but only on the stuff you've told it to read.
So a better way to think about it is, it's not really a chatbot. It's more like a dedicated research assistant. One that's already read and understood and actually trusts every single document you've given it. It doesn't have to guess, it just knows.
All right, let's dive in. To really get the hang of this, we're going to use a super simple 3-step system that's going to completely change how you work with information. It's curate, learn, and act.
First up, curate. And honestly, this is the whole foundation. It is the most critical step. The quality of whatever you create, a video script, a business report, you name it, is going to depend 100% on the quality of the sources you feed into it.
And the cool part is, you can build this knowledge base from just about anywhere. You can drop in links to websites or YouTube videos, you can upload your PDFs, connect your Google Docs, you can even just paste in text from an email. And my personal favorite, you can upload voice memos you record on your phone. I mean, how great is that for capturing those ideas that pop into your head when you're on the go? Now listen up, because this highlights the #1 mistake people make. If you just dump a bunch of random links in here, you're not really using the tool's superpower. It's like you're trying to get a gourmet meal, but you're just throwing random stuff from the back of your fridge into the pot. You gotta vet your sources. Choose the experts you trust. Pick the articles that are actually insightful. That careful curation is what makes this so incredibly powerful.
Okay, let's move on to the learn phase.
Once you have your trusted sources locked in, this is where the real magic starts. You're basically getting into an interactive conversation with your own knowledge.
You can actually tell the AI what role to play. For example, you could say, act like a skeptical journalist to help you poke holes in your own arguments. Or maybe be a creative brainstormer to spitball new ideas. This customizes every single response to fit the exact tone and style you need for your project. It's pretty amazing.
In this right here, this is maybe the tool's biggest advantage: reliability. Every single answer it spits out is backed up by citations that link you directly back to the specific sentences in your own documents. That means no more falling down those fact-checking rabbit holes. You can instantly see where every piece of information came from, which gives you so much more confidence to actually use it in your work.
All right, let's get practical. How do you actually use this to create something? Let's walk through a few real-world examples of how you can go from just a pile of research to a finished product.
Okay, let's start with a classic one for all you creators out there, scripting a YouTube video. So you've gathered your research, articles, transcripts, maybe some of those voice notes we talked about.
So check this out. You can ask NotebookLM to create a conversational audio overview from all your sources. It's like a mini podcast that makes for a fantastic first draft of your script. Then you can tell it to generate a slide deck to get a structured visual outline. Boom, you've got a perfect roadmap for your video. Now, what if you're an educator or maybe a consultant? You know how overwhelming it can be trying to organize a whole curriculum from stacks of notes and textbooks? Right, so in this case, you could use the Reports feature to generate detailed summaries and lesson plans for each module, which is a huge time saver. Then you can ask for a data table to organize everything neatly: topics, modules, key takeaways into a clean format for your syllabus. No more spending hours just formatting documents. Okay, next up, let's talk about writing. If you're a blogger or a journalist, your whole goal is to create articles that have a unique point of view, right? Not just rehashing the same old facts. So imagine you've uploaded articles from 5 different experts on a topic. You can actually ask NotebookLM to synthesize a core training philosophy or a central argument from all of them combined. This gives you a totally unique, well-supported starting point for an original article that actually stands out from the crowd. You're not just repeating what everyone else is saying.
And finally, what about just understanding the big picture? Sometimes the most valuable insights come from just seeing how different ideas connect to each other. The Mind Map feature is perfect for this. It literally draws you a map of the key concepts across all your different documents and shows you the hidden connections between them. You might discover that 2 sources you thought were completely separate are actually talking about the same underlying principle. It's such a powerful way to spot patterns and spark new ideas you would have totally missed otherwise. So, you've curated your sources, you've learned from them. Now it's time for the most important part of all. It's time to act. Look, here's the bottom line. All of this research, all this understanding, it's completely useless unless you actually do something with it. This tool is not for passive learning. It is a launch pad for creation. It's time to take what you've learned and go make something new. And that brings us right back to our 3-step framework, which really works like a creative flywheel. You curate your trusted sources, you learn and synthesize new ideas from them, and then you act by creating something new. And guess what? That new thing you create can then become a source for your next project. It just keeps going. With this system, you're not just organizing information anymore. You have your own personal research assistant and your own creator studio all in one place. You're ready to go from just an idea all the way to execution.
This whole process just empowers you to build on a solid foundation of trusted knowledge. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. What's that one project you've been putting off because you just didn't know where to start? Because now you've got the tools. So, what are you going to create?
All right, let's talk about NotebookLM. It is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful, free AI tools out there right now. But here's the secret. Getting those mind-blowing results isn't really about the tool itself. It's all about the strategy you use. We're going to break down the exact system that'll take you from a beginner to an absolute pro. So, does this sound familiar? You've got that one folder just overflowing with saved articles. Your Notes app is a total mess. Your YouTube Watch Later list is a mile long. You're swimming in all this information, but you're struggling to actually connect any of it, right? To pull out the real value? Well, that's what we call information chaos, and pretty much all of us have it. And that is exactly where NotebookLM steps in. You can think of it as the ultimate solution to all that chaos. See, it's a personal AI, but with a huge difference. It's grounded only in the information you give it.
the sources you've already decided you trust. So this isn't just another chatbot spitting out random stuff from the internet. It's like building your very own private, super focused brain.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what actually makes NotebookLM so different. Then, we'll dive into a simple 3-step system: curate, learn, and act. And to wrap it all up, we'll combine everything into a pro-level productivity workflow that you can start using right away.
All right, Section 1, your personal AI brain. So what really makes NotebookLM different from, a ChatGPT or Gemini? Well, it all comes down to 2 key features that are, frankly, game changers. They give you all the control and cut through all the noise.
So check this out. The main difference is actually pretty simple, but it is so important. Your typical AIs, they're pulling from the entire internet, right? The good, the bad, the weird. NotebookLM, on the other hand, is grounded only in the sources you provide. This is huge because it pretty much kills the risk of the AI just making stuff up. And on top of that, it has a massive context window. That just means you can feed it a ton more information than most other tools out there can even dream of handling.
Okay, let's get into the first, and honestly, the most critical step of this whole process: curating your knowledge. This is the foundation for everything else. If you get this part right, you're golden.
And believe me, this is where almost everyone messes up. The #1 mistake: just dumping like 50 random links and articles into a new notebook and expecting some kind of magic to happen. Nope, that is not how this works at all.
I mean, this quote right here just says it all, doesn't it? If you're just throwing random stuff in there, you're not really getting any benefit over just using a normal chatbot. The real power of NotebookLM comes from the quality and the relevance of the information you feed it. You got to think of yourself as a careful editor, not just a digital hoarder. So, how do you get your good stuff in there? Well, you've got a bunch of options. You can paste links from websites, YouTube videos, you can upload PDFs, text files, even images. You can hook it up directly to your Google Drive, or even just copy and paste text from, say, an email or a paywalled article. But my personal favorite, a real pro move, is what I like to call the mobile pipeline. Just record a quick thought into your phone's voice memo app, hit the share button, and send it straight to a notebook. It is the absolute best way to capture those brilliant ideas before they disappear.
All right, so you've got your high-quality sources all lined up. Now we're ready for step 2, automating your learning. This is where the fun begins. We're going to shift from just passively storing stuff to actively engaging with it and pulling out brand new insights.
And it all starts right in the chat window. You can ask it really complex questions. And here's the key. It gives you answers based only on the documents you provided. And this part is just brilliant. It gives you citations. It points you to the exact quote, the exact section in your original source, so you can check its work instantly. No guesswork.
The chat is awesome, for sure. But the real power, that's hidden away in what's called the studio. This is where you can take your entire knowledge base and just automatically transform it into all these incredibly useful formats. I mean, just look at this list. It can spit out a custom audio overview, like a little podcast, debating different ideas from your sources. It can create video explainers, infographics, mind maps. It can write reports and presentations for you. It can even generate flashcards and quizzes to help you study. It's just this incredible suite of tools for learning and creating all in one place. Here's a quick pro tip for you. You can actually chat with your notebooks using the Gemini extension on your phone, which is super handy. But you got to be aware of a key difference. Inside the NotebookLM app itself, the chat is strictly grounded in your sources, period. But when you use the Gemini extension, it might also pull in stuff from the rest of the web. Now, that's great for creative brainstorming, but if you need precise, factual answers from your material, you'll want to stick to the main app. And that brings us to step 3, which is probably the most important and, honestly, the most overlooked step of all: acting on your insights. Because let's be real, all this amazing organization and learning is totally wasted if you don't actually do something with it. So, what does acting on your knowledge even look like? Well, it could be creating content, right? Like scripting a video or writing an article based on all your organized notes. It could be building out a business plan for that new project you've been dreaming about. If you're a student, it means organizing your research for a killer paper. Or it could be as simple as just sharing what you've learned, all nicely structured, with your team or your friends.
Okay, let's tie this all together now into the pro productivity workflow. This is a really slick strategy that combines NotebookLM with other AI tools to get, the best of all worlds. This is how you really maximize your output.
So here's the workflow, broken down into 4 simple steps. 1. Brainstorm. Use a general AI like a ChatGPT or Gemini to just go wide and get creative. 2. Curate. Sift through those ideas, pick the best ones, and find high-quality sources to back them up. 3. Ground. Take all that good, vetted material and put it into NotebookLM. This creates your trusted knowledge base. And finally, step 4, create. Use all of NotebookLM's amazing chat and studio features to build something new on that rock-solid foundation.
You see, when you follow this system, you're not just organizing information anymore. You're turning it into a focused, actionable superpower. So, the only question left to ask is, what are you going to do with it?
You know, NotebookLM is an incredible free AI tool. But let's be honest, a lot of people are getting terrible results from it. And if you've ever felt that disappointment, I'm here to tell you it's not the tool, it's how you're using it. So today, we're going to fix that for good.
So, are you using these powerful AI tools all wrong? Let's talk about the #1 mistake I see people make. They treat NotebookLM just like any other chatbot. You know the drill, right? You just dump in a bunch of random links and hope for magic? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, don't sweat it. But we've got to change that approach.
Okay, so this right here is the fundamental difference, the big aha moment. Your standard chatbot, like a ChatGPT, is pulling from the entire internet. You know, a massive, wild ocean of information that somebody else picked. But NotebookLM? No, it's grounded only in the sources you provide. You are the curator. You're in total control of its brain. And that's the secret sauce. That's why your answers are hyper-specific and why it's way less likely to just, hallucinate and make stuff up.
So here's the game plan. We're going to walk through a super simple 3-step system to absolutely master this thing. First, we'll cover curating your sources the right way. Then we'll get into how to actively learn with the tool. And finally, the best part, we're going to build what's often called a second brain. Trust me, this is going to completely transform how you deal with information.
All right, let's dive into step 1, curating your sources. This is everything. This is the foundation of your entire knowledge base. And you got to remember the golden rule. The quality of your output depends entirely on the quality of your input.
So the process itself seems simple, right? You make a new notebook, you add your sources, links, files, whatever. But the key word here, the most important word, is curate. I'm serious. Don't just dump a bunch of random Google search results in there. You need to add high-quality sources that you actually trust. Think about it. Garbage in, garbage out. High quality in, that's where you get the magic.
Okay, now for an advanced workflow. NotebookLM has this really cool feature called Deep Research. It basically acts as your own research assistant, going out onto the web to find news sources for you. This is super powerful, but it's also a little risky. There's a big catch you need to know about.
And here it is, the critical piece of advice. Just because the tool found a source doesn't mean it's a good source. You have no idea if it's accurate or if it even aligns with what you're trying to learn. So here's the pro tip. Use deep research for discovery, but you must vet every single source it finds before you hit that import button. I'm telling you, never just blanket import them all. That's how you protect the quality and integrity of your knowledge base.
All right, so you've built this beautiful, curated foundation of high-quality sources. Awesome. Now it's time for step 2, actively learn. This is where we stop being just a collector of information and start actually synthesizing and interacting with it.
And here's another advanced workflow, and this one is a real game changer. Iterative content creation. We're going to move way beyond just asking simple questions. We're going to use the chat to actually create new knowledge and then feed it back into our system. Let me show you how this works.
It's a simple 3-step loop. First, you chat with it. You ask it a complex question, and it gives you this brilliant synthesized answer based only on your trusted sources. Step 2, if you love that answer, you save it to a note. Easy. But here's step 3, and this is the magic part. You then convert that note into a brand new source. Think about that. You've just used AI to help you create a new foundational piece of knowledge inside your own system. It's an amazing feedback loop.
Okay, now for maybe the most mind-blowing feature in all of NotebookLM. I'm talking about the interactive podcast. You can literally generate an AI podcast from all your sources. And I'm not talking about a boring, robotic text-to-speech reading. This is a full-on conversational overview with multiple hosts.
But wait, it gets even crazier. There's something called interactive mode. This means that while you're listening to this AI-generated podcast, you can literally hit pause and join the conversation. You can ask the AI hosts your own follow-up questions, and they'll answer you in real time, pulling the information directly from your sources. It's wild. It's so wild that you can do this. Not just generate the podcast, but then actually jump in and interact with the hosts. I mean, think about the possibilities. Turning your dense research papers or your class notes into a podcast that you can actually talk to while you're on a run or driving to work, it completely flips the script from passive listening to active dynamic learning.
And all of this brings us to the third and final step. And honestly, it's the one most people skip. This is about turning all this amazing work into a real, lasting asset. This is where we build your second brain. So what does this second brain actually look like in practice? Well, it's a collection of really specific notebooks. Instead of having one giant, messy notebook with everything in it, you create dedicated ones. One for your marathon training plan, another for research on legal case A, a different one for your entire Q4 marketing strategy. Each one becomes this deep, focused, and organized archive of your expertise on that single topic.
And that right there is the ultimate goal. We're not just using this tool for a few one-off questions anymore. What you're doing is systematically building a persistent, searchable archive of your expertise. It's a personal library that you can rely on, and it's an asset that only gets more and more valuable the more you use it.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. Let's bring it all together. This is your new knowledge system, the 3-step framework that will unlock the real power of NotebookLM.
It's simple. Number 1, curate. That means being intentional, vetting your sources, and absolutely no more random link dumping. Number 2, learn. This is about actively engaging with your material, synthesizing it, and even creating new knowledge. And number 3, act. You organize all that great info into dedicated notebooks, building a real, reliable, long-term asset.
Look, if you follow these 3 steps, I promise you will get so much more out of this tool. You'll go from just asking random questions to building a genuine, powerful knowledge system that works for you. So, I guess the only question left to ask is, what second brain are you going to build first?
You know, NotebookLM is without a doubt one of the most powerful free AI tools out there. But there's a catch. There's a secret to it. The difference between getting these incredible, mind-blowing results and, well, feeling completely disappointed, it all comes down to a really simple 3-step system. Okay, let's get into it. So we've all been there, right? You ask a question to one of those standard AI chatbots, and the answer you get back is, it's just okay. It's kind of generic, maybe a little vague, and honestly, sometimes it's just plain wrong. You end up having to go do the research all over again yourself anyway. But what if the problem isn't really the AI? What if it's how we're using it? And this slide right here, this gets to the heart of it. A general chatbot is pulling from the entire internet, all the good stuff, the bad stuff, the totally outdated stuff, and someone else chose that data. NotebookLM is completely different. It's grounded only in the sources that you give it. That means you're in total control, and the results you get are hyper-specific, trustworthy, and you get way fewer of those weird AI errors or hallucinations. So here's the plan. We're going to walk through my 3-step framework to really master this thing. We'll start with that AI disappointment we've all felt. Then we'll get into how to curate your sources, how to learn from them in totally new ways, and finally, how to act on everything you've discovered. All right, so let's get to the first, and I'm telling you the most critical step, curation. This is the foundation for everything that comes next. The quality of what you put into NotebookLM is going to directly determine the quality of what you get out. It's that simple. And this right here is the #1 mistake I see people make. They just treat it like a search engine. They grab a dozen random links, dump them all in, and hope for the best. If you do that, you're basically just turning NotebookLM back into a generic chatbot and throwing away its biggest superpower. So please, don't do this. Curation just means being intentional. It's about being picky, about carefully selecting only the sources you actually know and trust. Every article, every video, every PDF, it should be something you've vetted first. You're not just collecting links, you are building your own personal expert knowledge base. Let's make this real with an example. Say we have a marathon runner who wants to build the ultimate training guide. Instead of just random searches, they curate. They pick specific videos from trainers they really respect. They add that one go-to blog post on running form they love. They upload a proven 12-week training plan PDF. And get this, they even add their own voice notes with personal ideas and reminders. Now that is a powerful, focused knowledge base. Okay, so once you've curated your perfect set of sources, you are ready for step 2, learn and transform. This is where all that raw information you gathered starts to turn into genuine insight. This is where the magic really happens. So back to our marathoner, they can now ask a really complex question like this one. And because they gave the AI a custom role, act as an elite marathon coach, it doesn't just spit out a generic answer. It actually synthesizes all of those trusted sources they uploaded into a specific, actionable 12-week plan based only on that expert material. But the real secret weapon in the learn step is a feature called the Studio. I am not exaggerating, this is by far the coolest part of NotebookLM. It's where you can take all that knowledge you've curated and just completely transform it into entirely new formats. And the options are just incredible. You can tell it to generate a podcast debating different viewpoints from your sources, create a video explainer, a mind map to see how ideas connect, or even quizzes and flashcards. It's all about finding the best way for you to understand and internalize the information. Let's take another case study. Think about a law student who's prepping for the bar exam. They could create a notebook for each subject and just upload the voice recordings of their professor's lectures. Imagine that, every single word from every lecture transcribed and ready to go. So now, with just one click in the Studio, that student can turn hours and hours of lecture audio into flashcards and practice quizzes. It becomes this incredible, personalized study partner that's quizzing them on complex legal topics using their professor's own words. It's a game changer. Or what about a video creator? Let's say they've curated dozens of articles and research papers for their next big explainer. They can pop into the Studio and have it generate short video overviews of all that research. And this is where it gets really cool. They can actually tell the AI to create that video in different visual styles, like anime or classic documentary, whatever they want. This isn't just about learning anymore. It's a powerful brainstorming tool to actually see how their ideas might look on screen before they even touch a camera. And that brings us to our third and final step, and it's the one that most people forget. You have to act. Because all this knowledge is completely useless unless you actually do something with it. You've got to build, create, or share it. Let's check back in with our marathoner. After learning from all their sources, they use the Studio to take action. They generate a detailed visual infographic that's a custom fueling map for race day. It tells them exactly what to eat and when to drink based on all that curated expert advice. That is knowledge turned into a real, tangible tool. And you can do the exact same thing. Maybe for you, it's building a detailed business plan or outlining your next creative project. Maybe it's scripting a YouTube video, just like this one, or generating a study guide that you can share with your classmates. The goal is to create something new from the knowledge you've so carefully organized. So there you have it. That's the framework. It's a simple, but I think a really powerful way to completely transform how you learn and how you work with information. It really just comes down to these 3 steps. 1, curate. Be picky, choose only your best, trusted sources. 2, learn. Use the chat and especially the Studio to transform that information. And 3, act. Use your new insights to go out and build something real in the world. So the only question left is, you now have the knowledge, and you have the tool to organize it like never before. What are you going to build with it? All right, let's talk about NotebookLM. It is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful free AI tools out there. But here's the thing, some people get absolutely incredible results with it, while others just don't. It really all comes down to how you use it. So today, we're gonna fix that. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if you had an AI assistant that wasn't just pulling answers from all the random, messy, and sometimes flat-out wrong stuff on the internet? What if it was grounded only in the documents, the articles, and the notes that you personally picked out, that you trust? That's the huge idea we're diving into. So, what is it that really makes NotebookLM so different from pretty much every other AI you've used? Well, it all comes down to where it gets its brainpower. Let's break down what makes it so smart and cover the #1 mistake that trips almost everybody up at the beginning. Okay, so here's the fundamental difference. On one side, you've got your generic chatbots. They're trained on a gigantic chunk of the internet, information that someone else chose. You have no say. But with NotebookLM, it's the complete opposite. It only knows what you teach it. You're the one building its brain source by source. This means it's super specific to your needs, and it pretty much eliminates the chance of the AI just making stuff up. The real magic, the secret sauce of NotebookLM, all begins with this one critical step, curation. And listen, this isn't about how much you can throw at it. It's all about how good that information is. And here it is. This is the single biggest mistake I see people make. They treat NotebookLM like a digital junk drawer. They just dump in 20 random links and expect some kind of magic to happen. But if you're putting in unvetted, random sources, you might as well just be using a generic chatbot. Remember, your first job is to be a curator, not just a collector. Now, building your knowledge base is incredibly easy. You can upload files like PDFs or even voice memos from a meeting. You can add links to websites and YouTube videos, connect your Google Drive account, or just copy and paste text right in. So think about it. If you're training for a marathon, you're not going to add articles from some random blogger, right? Of course not. You're going to add the plans, the videos, and the guides from coaches you actually trust. That careful curation is everything. Okay, so once you've built your perfectly curated library, you are ready for step 2, learning. This is where you get to actually talk with your own personal expert, your knowledge base, and pull out some amazing insights. And here's where you can really level up. This is a pro move. Before you even ask your first question, you give the AI a role. With a power prompt like this one, you're not just asking a question anymore. No, you're consulting an expert persona that's going to tailor every single answer it gives you based on the brilliant knowledge you already provided. And here is what makes it so trustworthy. When you ask something, like, say, a question about marathon nutrition, the answer pops up with these little numbers. Those are citations. You can hover over them and see the exact quote and the exact document it came from. This means you can always verify the source. Then you can save the best insights as notes, and get this, you can even turn those notes into new sources for your notebook. It's a brilliant little feedback loop. Okay, you have curated your sources, you've learned from them. Now for the third, and honestly, the most fun step, transforming all that raw knowledge into something brand new and useful. This is where the studio comes in, and for a lot of people, this is the real wow moment. The creative power here is just incredible. With just a click or two, the studio can grab all of your curated sources and generate an audio overview, like your own private podcast. It can make a detailed infographic or create a quiz with flashcards to test what you know. It can even build you a whole slide deck. It's all about turning passive knowledge into active, usable stuff. Now, this brings us to the second biggest mistake I see. People just click the generate button and move on. The real power is hiding right behind that little pencil icon. Don't just generate a podcast. Click the pencil and prompt it to create a debate between two conflicting viewpoints in your sources. Don't just make a simple report. Tell it to critique the information that you've given it. That extra layer of customization, that's everything. So, we've walked through the core workflow: curate, learn, and transform. Now, let's just quickly pull it all together into a toolkit that's going to take you from a casual user to an absolute pro, getting the most out of every single notebook you create. Let's just boil it down. Here's the pro toolkit. First, master your prompts. Always give the AI a role to get expert-level results. Second, always use that pencil icon in the studio. Critique, refine, and push your outputs to be better. And third, take your knowledge on the go. Download those audio overviews for your commute or your workout. That's the core strategy right there. We've covered how to curate, how to learn, and how to transform. But all of this, it's all leading to one final crucial point: action. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is totally wasted unless you actually do something with it. You've built a trusted knowledge base. You've had conversations with it, you've tested yourself on it, and you've turned it into brand new formats. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with it? A new business? A piece of content? A new skill for yourself? The tool is just the beginning. The real value is in what you decide to build next. All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into an AI tool that honestly works a little differently than you might expect. It's called NotebookLM, and it's built to be your own personal research assistant. But there's a catch. And figuring out that catch, well, that's the whole key to making it work for you. So that leads to the big question, right? Why are some people getting these absolutely incredible results with it, while other people try it and are just kind of left disappointed? Well, here's the secret. It's not really about the tool itself. It's about a total shift in how you think about using it. Okay, this chart right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. Think about a general chatbot. It's pulling its answers from, well, pretty much the entire internet. It's just a vast ocean of data. But with NotebookLM, you are the librarian. The AI is grounded only in the specific sources that you give it. And what that means is you get these super specific, targeted answers. And this is a big one. You get way fewer of those weird AI hallucinations, those times when the AI just confidently makes stuff up. So, to get you to mastery, we're going to walk through a simple 4-part framework. First up is the Curation Masterclass. Then we'll dive into deep learning and interaction. After that, we'll get creative in the Creative Studio. And finally, we'll bring it all home by showing you how to build your very own second brain. All right, let's jump right into Module 1, the Curation Masterclass. And I gotta tell you, this is the absolute foundation. You have to remember this one thing. NotebookLM is only as smart as the information you feed it. The entire goal here is to build a knowledge base that's grounded in sources that you personally trust. So what's the #1 mistake people make? It's this. They treat NotebookLM like some kind of digital dumping ground. They do a quick search, grab a dozen random links, and just throw them all into the notebook. Look, if you're doing that, I'm telling you right now, you are using NotebookLM wrong. You're basically just turning it into a less powerful search engine. You're missing the whole point. The entire key, is to curate. You have to be selective. Every single source you add needs to be something you've actually looked at and decided, yep, this is good stuff. And the cool thing is, you can build your knowledge base from just about anything. We're talking PDFs, text files, links to websites and YouTube videos, your Google Docs, even just text you've copied from an email. Heck, you can even upload images or record voice memos right on your phone and add them. Just think about all the different places you get information. This is where you pull it all into one place. Okay, on to Module 2, Deep Learning and Interaction. So now that you've got your high-quality, curated sources all lined up, it's time to actually start talking to your knowledge. This is where the real magic starts to happen, right there in the chat. But wait, before you even ask your first question, here's a pro tip. You can actually customize the AI. Instead of just using the default assistant, you can give it a specific role. So, for example, if you're building a notebook about running, you could tell it, act as an elite marathon coach with 20 years of experience. It seems like a small thing, but trust me, it completely transforms the kind of answers you get. They become so much more focused and way more useful. So now, when you ask something like, what should I eat during a marathon, the answer you get is pulled only from those expert sources you handpicked. And here's the best part. Every single claim comes with a citation. You just hover over that little number and boom, you see the exact quote from the original source. It's all about building that trust and being able to verify everything. But what if you need to get even more specific? Let's say you remember there was this one amazing tip about what to eat on Rest Day in one specific video you added, but you can't remember exactly what it was, and you definitely don't have time to rewatch the whole thing. This is where NotebookLM is just brilliant. You can literally toggle on just that one source, that single video, and ask, what did that source say about food on Race Day? And just like that, you get the exact answer you were looking for with the citation. No more scrubbing through videos. It is a massive time saver. All right, this is where it gets really, really fun. Module 3, the Creative Studio. We're moving beyond just learning from your sources and into actively creating with them. The studio is designed to take all that knowledge you've collected and help you spin it into brand new assets. And just look at what you can create. We're talking audio overviews that are basically mini podcasts, video explainers, mind maps, detailed reports. You can even make flashcards and quizzes for yourself. It's like a whole creative suite powered by your personal, curated knowledge base. Okay, another huge pro tip for you. Don't just click the generate button. So many people do this. The real power is hiding behind that little pencil icon. You gotta click that first to customize the output. That's where you can really tailor it to what you need. So, for example, with the audio feature, instead of just getting a generic summary, you can tell it to create a debate, right? If you have sources that disagree on a topic, the AI will actually create a conversation between those two conflicting viewpoints. It goes from being a kind of dry, informative summary to something super engaging and targeted. Or how about this? You can create beautiful infographics in just minutes. So instead of just a text summary of your marathon prep, you could ask it to create a visual map of the race route and have it mark all the fueling and hydration stations. It takes all that complex data and turns it into a clear visual story. Okay, time for our fourth and final module, building your second brain. This is how we tie everything together. We're going to take your notebook from being just a one-off project and turn it into a living, breathing knowledge loop that actually gets smarter as you use it. So check out this knowledge loop. It's a simple 4-step process. 1, you ask a complex question. 2, you get a great synthesized answer from your sources. 3, you save that valuable answer as a note. But here's the absolute game changer. Step 4, you can convert that note into a brand new source. Think about what that means. Your own synthesized insights now become part of the knowledge base that the AI learns from. It's a constant feedback loop. So, we've covered the whole how-to, but there is one final and maybe most overlooked step, and that's putting your knowledge into action. Don't just learn this stuff, create with it. The real question is, what now? Because at the end of the day, knowledge is completely wasted unless you actually use it. This whole tool is designed to be a springboard. It's not just for learning, it's for building, for creating, for sharing something new with the world, whether that's a new piece of content, a business plan, or just a new understanding you want to share. So there you have it, the complete framework. We went from curating your sources to interacting with them, to creating brand new things in the creative studio, and finally to building that persistent knowledge loop. You've officially built your second brain. So now the real question is, what are you going to create with it? NotebookLM is easily one of the most powerful free AI tools out there right now, but there's a little bit of a trick to really unlocking its full potential. So today, I'm going to show you a super simple 3-step system to completely master it. I'm sure you've seen things like this before, right? An AI just confidently states something that is completely 100% false. This is what we call a hallucination. And honestly, it's the biggest problem with so many of the AI tools we try to rely on for real information. And it's just so frustrating, isn't it? Especially when you need reliable answers, but the tool you're using is just pulling from who knows where on the internet, sometimes just flat out inventing facts. So what's the alternative here? Well, the solution is to build your very own private AI kingdom. And that is exactly what NotebookLM lets you do. It's an AI that works exclusively with the information that you personally trust. And this really highlights the key difference. See, while a general AI pulls from the entire messy internet, NotebookLM is grounded only in the sources you give it. That means you get answers you can actually trust, answers you can verify. Plus, it has this massive context window, which you can kind of think of as its short-term memory, letting you upload and analyze huge amounts of information all at once. So how do we actually master this thing? Well, it all starts with step 1 of our framework, curate. This is the absolute foundation. I can't stress this enough. The quality of what you get out of NotebookLM is determined entirely by the quality of what you put in. And this brings me to the #1 mistake I see people make over and over again. They treat it like a search engine, just grabbing a whole bunch of random links and dumping them all in. If you're doing this, you're using it completely wrong and you're just going to get messy, unreliable results. And this is really the core idea right here. The whole power of NotebookLM is in its ability to work with information that you trust. By carefully curating your sources, you're basically building a personalized AI expert on any topic you want. So what can you build with? Well, pretty much anything you trust. You can upload PDFs, add links to websites and YouTube videos, pull stuff directly from your Google Drive, and you can even upload voice memos right from your phone. And hey, here's a great pro tip. For those articles behind a paywall that you have access to, you can just copy the text and paste it right in as a source. Okay, so let's move on to step 2, and this is where things start to get really cool. This is the learn phase. Once you've curated all your trusted sources, you can start to digest that information and transform it into some really powerful insights. The main thing you'll see is the chat interface. It lets you interact with all your sources. You can ask it anything, and it'll pull answers directly from the materials you provided. And here's the best part. Every single answer comes with a citation, so you can easily click and verify exactly where it got that information. No more guessing. But just chatting with your sources is only one piece of the puzzle. The real magic, the part that gets everyone so excited, happens in a feature called the Studio. This is where NotebookLM truly starts to blow your mind. So what is the Studio? Well, think of it as a set of features that takes all of the knowledge you've packed inside your notebook and automatically transforms it for you. This is where you stop just consuming information and start actively creating with it. I mean, the Studio is a creative powerhouse. Imagine you've uploaded a few dense articles on a complex topic. With just a single click, you can turn all that info into an AI-generated podcast or a detailed mind map or even a set of flashcards to help you study. It's like having a personal research assistant and a content creator rolled into one. And that brings us to the third and, to be honest, the most overlooked step in this whole process: act. Okay, so you've gathered the knowledge, you've learned from it. Now what do you do? This is such a crucial point. Knowledge is completely wasted unless you actually put it to use. So the final step is to take what you've learned and build something, create something, or share something with it. This is where you unlock all the real value. So the question is, what will you build? Are you going to script your next viral video, draft that game-changing business plan, or maybe create the ultimate study guide that helps you ace your final exams? The power is literally in your hands. All right, so let's bring it all together and just do a quick recap of the entire mastery framework we've just walked through. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful three-step system. First, you curate. Be selective and only use sources you actually trust. Second, you learn. Interact with your sources through the chat and use the studio to transform them into brand new formats. And third, you act. Apply your new insights to create something real in the world. See, by following this framework, you shift from being just a passive searcher of information to an active builder of knowledge. You literally become an AI knowledge architect. So it's time to stop searching and start building.